Hey y'all, it's just Madi. Welcome to Madi's Bookbinding 101 Part 3, where we are going to turn this into something like this. We're going to be working with our text block today. So by the end of this video, your text block will look a little something like this. Not exactly, even this next one that I have prepared isn't even going to turn out exactly like this. This is going to take the span of a couple of days because I've taken basically 3 steps and kind of just conglomerated it into one video. So we're going to be taking this step by step. Again, this is probably going to take me a couple of days. For chapter 1 of this part, we are going to sew our text block together. First, let's gather up all of our materials. Our signatures, thread, waxed or regular, a needle, curved or regular, the stitching technique that we're going to be using in this demonstration. I believe it's called a kettle stitch. I think it's one of the easiest, it's not the easiest, but it's one of the easier ones out there. And for me, I personally think it provides a bit of stability to the book as well. Now, you'll notice that in my signatures, my final signature that I'm starting with is a bit interesting because it's literally only 1 page. So we'll see how that turns out, but hopefully it'll be all okay. If not, no big, I'll just reprint out some things. So my signatures have been pressing for about 2-ish hours. So we're just gonna go ahead and get these out. One girl was like, you should only use like a foot at a time or 2 feet at a time, but I like to use my whole wingspan. So this is the part where I just can't show you because I don't feel like moving my camera, but I'm literally just unwinding it until it reaches, so it starts here, so until it reaches the other end of my finger. That's just how far I'm unwinding it. Alright, we'll put that off to the side, and we are going to thread this needle, this curved needle that I like using. Again, this came with the bookbinding kit that I ordered. This is a sewing tool. I'm not sure if this is what I'm supposed to use it for, but it's what I'm using it for. Like this. Then you take one end of your thread, put it through the diamond shape. You don't have to use too much, but like enough, you know? Now just pull that through. Take the ends, make sure they're lined up, put them on my finger. Then I'm just going to position the eye of the needle like almost at the very end, like that. I'm gonna take the bottom half of my thread. We're gonna wrap it around here. 1, 2, 3. You can probably do it 4 times. Let's do it 4, just like that, and slide it down until you can pinch it with your fingers. Then you're gonna take it like that, pull your thread. Oh, you were not supposed to tie around my finger, but that's okay. Easy fix, and boom, a nice sturdy knot with not too much excess at the end. We'll take our very last signature, which is this one right here. We're gonna start with this bottom outside hole. Put the needle through, pull all the way, and we're just gonna do a simple stitch for this part. This is the very base, starting with a simple stitch. If you aren't comfortable with sewing, I would say to take your time with this. You don't have to go fast. You will get faster as you go. I would say that if you have more than 1 page in your signature, that whenever you just do 1 stitch all the way through, just pull it a little bit to tighten and make sure there are no loose threads. I don't have to do it with this one because again, it's literally only one piece of paper. So once we get to the top here, what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this back down, okay? Because this is the base stitch. So we're going to do the exact same thing, but now we're going the opposite way. So now that we're here at this part, you see how we basically just have to go in one more time? That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go in right where the knot is. Speaking of knots, we're gonna tie one. So we have it like this. We're going to loop it under the thread there. Take it through. Pull flat. And next up, this might make you a little nervous. This is making me nervous with my one sheet of paper. We're gonna take the needle back through that same hole, all the way through. And we're just gonna give it a nice gentle little tug until you feel or hear that little pop for the knot to come through. There we go. Now that we have our entire bottom sheet threaded along the fold, we are going to move on to the next signature. So we're going to align the signature on top, and we are going to take our needle through the bottom hole right here. Okay, don't forget to make sure that it actually goes through all the pages, because sometimes it does not, like it did with this one. Easy fix, just manually put it through. Let's pull the thread through all the way. And we are going to go through the next hole. Okay. Pay close attention, because instead of just doing a simple stitch through to the next one, we're going to take our needle, hook it underneath here. See where there's that little, like, I don't know what to call that, but anyway, we're going to take it under through the next one right here, and we are going to take it through this same hole once again. So again, you really gotta make sure that it is going through to the very middle page, in which case it is, again, not going through the middle page. And pull. Again, this is where I like to tighten it a bit, just to make sure that it's not crazy loose or anything. And we are going to repeat the process for the rest of this signature of going through the hole, go through to the other side, take it down and under, and back up through the hole, making sure that it's going all the way through to the middle. And pull. Here's what's important. You take it through the hole all the way. You're gonna go under this one right here, and instead of going back through this hole, you are going to add your next signature on top. This time starting at the very top hole. With this third signature stack, instead of going down, you're gonna take it all the way to the bottom again, because there's not like really enough hooks. You're gonna take it all the way through the first one, bring it back up through the hole again, make sure it goes all the way through. And continue. Now, what if you are running out of thread like I am right here? Well, the simple solution, you are going to, just like we did in the last one, we're going to tie a knot. You're going to start here, go under, through, and you're gonna pull it flat like that. Take the needle through the same hole again. And you're just gonna pull until you feel or hear that gentle pop of the knot coming through. Okay, there is the knot. It's very small, very minuscule, but that's okay. And I'm going to cut this off and push to the side and thread my new needle. Beautiful. I'm going to take this thread, go back in the second hole, basically start all over from the second hole. Why don't you go through? I'm picking up where I left off. Did I just say starting over? No, I meant I'm picking up where I left off in case I said that I was starting over. I'm picking up where I left off, pulling my thread all the way through, hooking it under this thread, back up. Oof. As you can see, there's kind of a tangle forming. So I'm just gonna take this thread and gently, see, that's where the issue was. Now I know, I just pull this up a bit and it should continue perfectly fine on its regularly scheduled trajectory. Now let's talk about what to do once you've finished getting all your signatures sewn together. This is the last one. I just brought it through from here and I hooked it underneath that. We're gonna finish it off just like how we've been finishing off our thread. Take it through to the front, all the way. Then we are going to tie a knot. So tie it flat. Bring it all the way through. And then just gently tug until you see the knot come through, or till you hear it, or until you feel it. Now all of our signatures are a text block. Beautiful. Here's my stitching work. I know it's not the best, but that's okay because guess what? This is gonna get covered up anyway, so all these little extra pieces of thread, don't worry about it. Like I said, it's gonna be covered up. I am going to put this in my book press once again, press it nice and tight for, I don't know, X amount of time, then come back to it. Chapter 2 is gluing. Here are the things that you absolutely will need. Your book press, your text block, some kind of acid-free adhesive like an all-purpose glue. I'm thinking Elmer's regular school glue, or this neutral pH adhesive that came with my bookbinding kit. You'll also need an applicator of some kind, like a brush or a silicone applicator. And this last part is optional, but I prefer to add some pretty paper as my front end and back end. Some kind of adhesive, preferably one that is acid-free, like a PVA, or it can be like regular Elmer's glue. You're also going to need some kind of applicator tool, like a brush or a silicone applicator if you have one. I tried a silicone applicator once, but I actually prefer the paintbrush a little bit better. This is probably, to me, the easiest step in binding your actual book. It's laying down the glue on your text block. So I'm just squaring up my text block, making sure everything is okay, that the spine is pretty straight. I am also going to take my pretty paper. This part, you know, it's optional, but I have pretty paper, so why not use it? I'm going to fold mine two sides. I make sure that I line them up and square them up with my text block. Very nice. I'm going to go ahead and put all of my pages in my book press with the spine exposed. And I'm not gonna leave too, it doesn't need to be like a lot of it exposed, as you can see. Once my camera focuses, there we go. I don't have too much exposed. I have like a pinky nail of my spine exposed. Not too much. And I'm just gonna tighten this so that way it doesn't go anywhere. There we go. As you can see, I only have about a pinky nail exposed on each side of the spine. And I like to put my book press on its side just so I can see the spine better, and it helps me. So I'm just gonna take my glue, natural pH adhesive. We're gonna do 2 layers of this glue. So let's start this first one. Okay. So I kind of just fill the top a bit with glue. I'm just gonna put my brush in here. And there we go, voila. It is going to get messy. So I did say this was the easiest part, but it's also the messiest part. And I just want to make sure each part has some glue. And I'm gonna let this first layer of glue dry. And I'm gonna close this so all of the glue doesn't dry. And I'm gonna go wash my brush because I don't want it to dry on the brush. Now, if you have this and it bothers you a lot, just take like an extra napkin, or like in my case, a fabric softener sheet that has been used, and just wipe it. And when I come back, the only thing I'm going to do with the gluing part is just add a second layer of glue. That's it, adding a second layer. You can do as many layers as you like, but I think 2 is a pretty good, because it's not too much, but it's also not too little. And if you want to add stuff later, like I will, like you will see me do later on in the video, 2 layers is like the perfect base. Now that we have our second layer on and dried, which of course I did not film because I forgot about it, we are going to get to trimming our text block. First, let's gather our materials. We're gonna need a pencil, a ruler, some kind of blade like an x-acto knife or a sharp box cutter. We're also gonna need some sandpaper, and while not necessary, I just simply prefer to have some kind of cutting board to put underneath all of this. And I'm actually gonna take this to the floor because when we get to the cutting part, I am going to want to apply pressure. Not necessarily too much, but I want to be able to apply an even amount of pressure throughout the entire time. First, I'm going to gently mark out my trim lines. I like to trim particularly around that area. I might trim a bit on the bottom and on the top just because I plan on adding things to the spine later. It's not a necessary step to trim these other sides if you really don't want to, but I do, so that's what I'm gonna do. First, I'm going to measure out maybe half a centimeter. Let me do it this way. So here I have my trim lines on the, what would be the front part, the bottom, and the top. I double checked to make sure that it wasn't cutting off anything I had printed, like any of my borders or any of my page numbers. Next, we're actually going to be needing our cutting tool, whether that be the box cutter or x-acto knife like mine, or the paper guillotine. I have a paper guillotine, however, it does not cut this many pages at once, which makes me really sad and also very envious of the people who have like a super professional guillotine cutter. I'm going to line up my ruler to this line, take my X-acto knife, open it, and start gently cutting away at it. I've done this a lot of times and I've messed up a lot of times. The reason why I put it on the floor was hopefully to give me enough leverage to evenly apply pressure while cutting. So let's see if it works this time. Just gently. So this was probably the most even I have ever gotten my pages to be. Now, to be honest, this took a lot of trial and error and watching a lot of informational videos, but this is definitely the smoothest I've ever gotten. Just gently applying pressure, not too gentle, but just enough to cut the paper, okay? Not to dig in, not to saw, just enough to just slice, okay? And that's how you get this pretty, almost completely smooth edge. Now I have all this paper left over here. I am going to put this in the recycle bin, or my trash bag, I guess. Recycle bag? I don't know. Whichever. And then we'll move on to the next one. And now here comes the question of why sand? Again, I sand just to make this a little bit smoother, to make it less, I don't know, liney. I want it to be nice and smooth. Now, how am I gonna sand this? I was using regular sandpaper, but that was taking me forever, especially with the amount of sanding I wanted to do. But I will be using this, which goes on with my handy dandy little tool that I have here. It's cute, it's pink, it's electric. So I'm gonna pop one of these right on. This is Velcro. I'll pop one right on, stick my text block into my book press it, and then just do some light sand work. And there you have it, a perfectly finished text block. Now, you can stop here. If this is what you like, this is what you want, stop right here, head over to the next video. If not, if you are looking to add maybe a footband or headband or even an incorporated bookmark, stay tuned, but I should warn you, it's gonna get a bit messy. As per usual, we are going to start off by gathering our materials. Be aware, again, this is a messy one. You're gonna want your gluing materials, a book cloth, I think this might be a cheesecloth, but that's okay. Some ribbon for a bookmark if you plan to add one. This material for the headband and footband of your book if you are also planning to include this. Mine is a pinkish color to match my overall theme. Some scissors. Alright, I'm gonna grab this cheesecloth and see how it's like really bunched up? Yeah. So basically no matter how big or small I cut it, it's just too big. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to cut a thin piece. It should work like this. Don't need too much, I'm just using it as reinforcement for the spine. And here's how it is when it's long, stretched out. Let's see, I need about this much. And maybe I'll do a second layer, we'll see. Alright, keep the excess to the side, and scissors are back on the side. Alright, so back in the book press, we're gonna take the text block and put it in spine up, just like how when we were regularly gluing this. And I may leave a little extra out, maybe about a 4-finger width of space there. So just like how we did for the regular spine, we're gonna add a nice layer, although I may need more glue, so hold on. Oh, an important part of this that I forgot to do was to label which side was the top and which side was the bottom, because of course, well, this is the bottom. Because this looks like where I started. And that is the top, where it ended. And let's hope I'm right. If not, I have to undo it and redo everything. I don't feel like doing that, so let's just hope I'm right, y'all. And we're gonna get some, but not a lot, on the sides. Just what's left over on the brush. Now to put the cloth on the spine. Press down on the sides. I'm gonna go ahead and add another layer of glue on top. Now I'm gonna get my headband and footband. This one, it's a cute pinky color, which is perfect for the vibes. I'm just gonna do a quick little measure and snip. It's not like a big deal, but there's one part that's flatter than the other side, so this bump goes on the end here. Like that's just dabbing it on. Alright, let's hope that this is where we need to hope that this is the right way. Now, here's the ribbon. I plan on using this one. I want my bookmark to come out maybe this far. Okay. Let's add an extra this much. And we're gonna cut it. And now let's add the footband right up here. Alright, and I'm off to clean my brush and my glue container. Alright, y'all, it's the next day. It's the moment of truth. The glue is all nice and dry. So let's take this out. And there we have it, our finalized text block with our headband, footband, and our unfinished bookmark. Because this is unfinished, I'm not just going to leave it like this. I did try to do a little something with attempting to gild the pages. It kind of worked, kind of didn't work, depending on where you look at it from, but that's okay. It just means I need to do more research and practice a little bit more. So stay tuned for the next video where we are going to talk about our case binding, the hardcover that's going to go outside of this text block, and the other one that I have over here, so you can see how I do both thin books and thicker books. So make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know where you are in your bookbinding process, and if this video was helpful. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!